Right, it is autumn, so we've just gone the mid-October point. The Albizia is starting to go yellow and drop its leaves. We've got a funny little fatsia down here. It is a spider's web, but it sort of thinks it's standard variegated. Bit strange, yeah, the new flush. If I didn't know better, I'd say it's just a variegated fatsia, but it is a spider's web. Yeah, bit of a funny one there. Just looking at the big leaf rhododendron. Lots of buds for next year. That's going to be put on a good flush in spring this year, and that's going to do the same next year by the looks of it. Really nice rhododendron, this one. Really big leaves. Nice big buds on that. So the garden, we're sort of thinking about winter protection. I haven't done anything down this end of the garden yet. I mean, we've had no frost, we've had no really cold nights. It's looking pretty mild for the next 2 weeks. I mean, I know it can change, but as it is at the moment, the long-term forecast is looking pretty good. Bit of a wet, windy day today, but the rest of the days this week have been pretty nice, really quite warm and mild. But I have made use of the good weather and started some of the winter preparation. So let's have a look at that now. I have been sort of moving some plants about, anything that's in pots. I've really sort of taken out the borders now. I have got a little garden trolley here which is full of bromeliads. This is not all of them, I've already put some in the hothouse. They do add a nice tropical touch to the garden in the summer, and they are quite tough. I mean, they could stay out up until what sort of do for a frost. I wouldn't let them get a frost, but they could take quite low temperatures, lower than you'd think. But while I was sorting out the sort of plants I want to move about and protect, I thought I'd get them out of the way now. Yeah, so a bit sad really. I mean, it is that time of year, we have to sort these things out. Anyway, so I have done a little bit of construction, if you like, a bit of some lean-tos just to protect the further more tender plants. So what have we done? Well, like I said on the last video, we wanted to get the arid bed covered, so that's what we've done. So this is how it'll stay all winter. Last year I didn't go to this extreme. I just put an old polytunnel frame and cover over, but I did find I was adjusting that quite a lot when we had a bad winter storm like we do tend to get. Yeah, I was constantly adjusting that and pulling it about, where this one has gone back to sort of previous years. The year before last, winter time, this is more or less what I've done, and it works well. It's stable, it's solid construction. This will take good winds with no problem. So basically what we've got is these heavy duty dahlia stakes. I happen to get these ones from B&M. I think the big ones might be about 4 or 5 quid, but depending on the sort of length, they go from about £2 to £5, I think. And they're good starting points. You can knock them into the ground give you a good solid purchase, and then build everything around them. So that's basically what I've done here. So yeah, we've got a sort of clear cover with a frame over the main arid bed, and then I've constructed a sort of framework at the front here as well, and got a clear tarp over that. I will say this is one of the ones from Temu, which again I think I did mention in the last video. These were about 10 quid, and they're 2 by 3 meters, so they're decent size, and actually they're quite good quality, to be fair. They're quite thick plastic, really thick in fact, so they're not going to be ripping in the wind. They're stitched with rope around the sides, and they're eyeletted as well, so they seem quite good quality. We'll see when we get some decent winds. But so again, just done a framework sort of roughly to the size I wanted, and then whacked the cover on it. I did have to put a few extra eyelets in myself, so they came with just a couple of the big sort of heavy duty eyelets at various points, but obviously where I wanted it, I've got a little eyelet gun which I had to make a few little eyelets myself. But I mean, in general, that's going to keep that arid area fairly dry. Like I say, I'm not trying to keep it watertight. It is open at the sides, but the idea is just to let the soil dry out a bit, and plenty of airflow going through, so it's open both sides. And yeah, so that should again, done this on previous years and worked very well, very successful. Even when I had a lot of cacti and things in here, which I took a lot of them out, to be fair, due to getting a lot of weeds, and that's just a nightmare, weeding with little cacti everywhere and pricking myself. So I did pull a lot of the small cacti out and put in pots, and so they've been moved in now. But in general, yeah, everything seems to do quite well underneath there. Again, lets the light in, I can see in through the transparent cover, and sort of best of both worlds, I can see what's going on still, but yeah, it's kept pretty dry, all looking good there. So that was like a 4 or 5 hour project. I already had like the top piece saved from a previous year, which is just like a large old pallet I had, which has got clear material on, and then this bit is new this year. So on the theme of coverings, I did say I was gonna, my seating area, I was gonna sort of make into sort of a greenhouse, which I have done to some sort of extent. So this was, or is, a square sitting area. So that's quite easy for me to make this into a sheltered greenhouse type area, with a lot of materials I had, which I haven't actually used for the last couple of years, but they've been sitting there, so I've put them to use. We've got some corrugated clear here, which again, with the framework which is already here, with the posts and the beams going across, all I had to do is screw the corrugated to the posts and beams, and I've got a trough planter each side of this, which tucked in there quite nicely, and that is actually quite solid and secure. That's not going to be blown about too much in the wind. Obviously the planter trough area, well, it's not planted, this one, it's just a trough which I had all my agaves in pots stacked up in there, but that's also serving now as a nipping that corrugated in. It's just suddenly turned very dark. I hope it's not going to rain. Yeah, so again, I have got a raised planter this side as well, which has got a lot of this variegated grass, which would take over the garden if that was left to his own devices. That's why I've put that in a raised planter, and that is also helping the corrugated this side to nip that against the framework and make it all nice and solid and secure. So again, we've got another one of these tarps. I bought three of these from Temu, like I say, £10 each, 3 metre by 2 metre, and that's now the roof on that. To keep it simple, I did have a big bit of polycarbonate spare from when I'd done the conservatory, so that's been sitting there for a few years, but I made that first and then made a framework on top of that for the pitch of the roof, so we don't collect rain on that. And what that also does is give me a double barrier against condensation or dripping inside onto the power Jabaya, so that keeps the crown of that dry. Yeah, so it's a mixture of materials. I haven't done this bit yet, which is just an open front and back, which is still open to the elements at the moment. But I'm looking to do something with that. There is eyelets in the tarp roughly, so I could connect it to there, and then I'm just filling this little gap either side with some clear perspex or something. But I'm not looking to totally seal it in. I mean, all these panels have got gaps in them, so they're going to have airflow getting around there. And yeah, again with this clear corrugated, there are gaps everywhere, so nothing's going to be building up humidity, or there's going to be good airflow. Which brings us to the front, and something I've been doing this year is just keeping an eye out on the Facebook marketplace. So I had the idea of sort of shower doors, and believe it or not, any given week when I look on Facebook, there always seem to be people selling cheap or giving away shower doors, and I thought, well, they're for whatever purpose you want in the garden. I mean, you could use it as a like a cold frame if you like, build a framework up and use that as the top or whatever. But yeah, so I managed to get a couple of shower doors. I've got like another one tucked away somewhere, but this is quite a nice one actually, and someone's giving this away free, and this is actually quite an expensive heavy duty door. It came with all the fixings that's still boxed, and they're giving it away, so I thought, well, let's give that a go. Yeah, so it's basically a double piece of glass with hinges on it, quite heavy duty glass at that, and by luck sort of worked out perfectly to the sizes or dimensions of the opening. I say perfectly, obviously there is about a 10mm gap, but again, helps with airflow. But yeah, I mean, that is absolutely perfect, sort of dimensionally wise, and even at the top there, it just sort of tucked in quite nice. So all I've done is just made a little makeshift latch here, and we've got a door to get in. And yeah, so that's just a free shower door from Facebook Marketplace, and that's given me a really nice option to, like I say, easy access. I can see through it, it's nice and clear, still get plenty of light in here, and yeah, I can load this up as and when with plants as I wish. So the main point is we've got the power Jabaya here, which is already in recovery mode. I didn't want to put it through another winter of wrapping it, unwrapping it, getting it blown about, so I thought, well, let's build something over it. So that's what's going on with that. but also I thought in my head, I thought, well, if we've got one sort of palm that's going to need protection, why not use this area as a more of a tender area for some plants, and put some other stuff in that will need protecting as well, so we can do it all in one go. So which is what we've done. So we've got some other palms and plants in here. I mean, I've got aeoniums, a few different types which are going to be staying in here. They're not going to be dug up. We've got a yucca jewel there. We've got Phoenix robellini. We've got Cordyline superstar, and we've got a Phoenix rupicola, which are all not really going to survive a winter without some sort of protection. So I'm hoping this will be enough. We'll see. But again, so that's a sort of permanently planted area, and this area was just like a small sitting area, which now gives me the opportunity to put some plants that may need a little bit of protection. So I've already got the Cycas revoluta in here, sago palm, and I can fit a few more sort of potted palms in here. Yeah, so I mean that's worked out quite well. This didn't take long to do at all, and I thought I'll get it done early. That way I've not got to battle the elements when we do, you know, leave it a week or two and we get windy, wet weather, and you don't really want to be working with materials where you got to hold things in place and this, that and the other, and the wind's blowing and causing problems. So yeah, that's done pretty much anyway. Like I say, we've got some openings. We've got an opening at the front and an opening at the back. Again, not sure whether I'm actually going to go to the point of trying to put stuff at the back there. I might just leave that open to let everything breathe and for good airflow. So depending on the winter, what I am going to do is put a heat cable probably just along the soil level around these palms, just to keep the roots a little bit warmer. But just being in this situation where this is going to get winter sun, when we do get sun in the winter, all day long here, so it will warm up to an extent, greenhouse effect. So I don't expect the soil to get too terribly cold in this area, but I will have, again, heat cables, or a heat cable, just in case we do get a bad period, which we do tend to get, like the odd week here and there where it is particularly cold, and I can just put that on a thermostat and just have that so it's set at 5 degrees or something, just to keep the soil level warm, so we don't get any, or hopefully no sort of damage when it comes to some of these more sensitive palms. Yeah, so that is where we are with that. So again, have a good look on your local Facebook marketplace around your area and see if you can pick up some useful materials, because the guy, when I picked this up, this shower door was supposed to be 300 quid, believe it or not, and it did come with other bits as well, attachments, this, that and the other. But yeah, so it is what it is, and now it is being used, not for its intended purpose, but it's still being used nonetheless, and it's going to come in very handy for me. Right, so again, so all the sort of protection work is done sort of down the house end of the garden, if you like. I've still got to get a few more plants. I've got a few tender palms along the side here which need to go into the hothouse, but apart from that, yeah, so this area I'd say is sort of done. So really, winter protection wise, what I'm looking at is obviously going to take the insets out at some point when we get a frost due. Then I will dig them up and pot them up and get them in the conservatory. But apart from that, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff that's going to be, there's nothing I don't really, other than the onsets, there's nothing really I've got to dig up. There's food palms and plants which I probably will protect in situ, like I always do. Like the bootia, the Washingtonia, and obviously I've got another bootia over that side. They will all get fleece bags on the coldest nights, but apart from that they'll come straight back off again as soon as it gets a bit milder. And I will fleece the Musella lesiacarpa. That'll be fleeced. But again, you know, by now you should, I say by now, if you've been doing this sort of garden for a while, you know what your area is like, what your temperatures are like, what plants you've got to give a bit more protection to. Yeah, I may be gone a bit extreme with some of these shelters, but it's not hard work. I like that sort of thing. I like, how can I put it politely, messing about in a garden. I just like building stuff, and we'll see. I'm hoping I'll stand up to most of the extremes that the weather can throw at us. Yeah, but again, so just know your area, know your plants. If you're new to this game, there's plenty of videos over wintering. I'm not gonna, I have got a winter protection playlist. There's not much on there, but I have done sort of specific overwintering videos for specific plants in the past. They're somewhere on my channel. You can find them if they're not in the winter protection playlist. Yeah, so again, there's sort of the bananas, the Cicanensis and Musa Baju, I may well wrap if I need to. But again, I where I am in the country, you know, my location is, we are pretty much in the North Sea here. We're the most easterly point of the UK. Tend to be a bit drier than most of the UK. We are on very sandy, free draining soil, and we do tend to be mild. We're right on the coast, so we're quite lucky in that sense that most things that would be sort of 50-50 we tend to get away with here. So, famous last words, I know, but in general I don't go too mad with wind protection. I will, as and when I do things, probably pick up the camera and do a video on them. What I probably will do, I am going to dig up all these pink china because they shouldn't be there. Every year I dig all these out, and obviously at some point they've thrown out stolons, and you know, you dig out the plant and then you probably leave a few little nublets behind, and they end up growing next year, but they'll all come out anyway because this is supposed to be just sort of palms here. So they're going to come out and potted up, and I may well put a cover over the centre bed here. Again, I have got a spare one of these Temu tarps, which 3 metre by 2 metres. So that will, if I make a framework and pin it down to the ground and just have it slanted upwards, make it nice and aerodynamic, that should hold up to most of the storms, and that'll just keep everything dry and keep the frost off, because I have got a few more sort of tender palms in here which I don't really want to repeat damage on, which I go back to this Brahea edulis, where this totally defoliated a couple of years back in the winter. lost all its leaves and it's just a stump, and I thought that was dead, but that has come back, so I don't really want to repeat that again. So yeah, and there's a few other palms which I'd rather keep looking good rather than, oh yeah, they'll survive the winter. Yes, they will, but they're not going to necessarily look brilliant coming into spring. So if you want to, and you've got the time and pieces to do it, then yeah, I think it's a good idea to protect any palm within reason, just to keep it looking good. It's not about if it won't take cold or not. Just to keep things looking nice, really. And I will probably put a shelter over this Jabaya chilensis as well, just there's, again, I know that in the past, I mean, I only got this about this time last year, so I've had it a year, and that has had a spear pull at some point. So I know there's a bit of I won't say cavity, but there's an opening. It's not tight crown, so I don't want water sitting in there and freezing, because that's going to cause problems. So again, it's not that this palm is not hardy. It's one of the hardest feather palms you can grow, especially for the UK, but I don't want to damage it and, possibly let in a situation where it could, again, collect water, freeze, and spear pull or damage any fronds. So let's just keep it nice. I'll make a cover over that just to keep the rain off it, just to keep it a bit drier and the worst of the frosts off. But again, I mean, winter protection, a lot of people say, oh, I only grow hardy stuff because that's too much trouble. That's fair enough. I've got no argument against that. Again, a lot of stuff I do grow, most of it, I'd say 90% of stuff, you ain't got to worry about it, do nothing. But that's them food 10% plants, for me, are the more interesting plants. So I want to protect them. I want to keep them looking good. So again, it's not a chore for me. I like mucking about and building stuff and, shelters and this, that and the other. That's not a chore. I quite enjoy doing it. So I'm always going to do that. But in general, we'll let nature take its course. I think we've exhausted the subject for now, so we'll leave it there. Well, thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.